Have you ever found yourself drawn to the simplest explanation for something?
Mm-hmm.
Even when, deep down maybe a little voice tells you it might be a bit too good to be true.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all do that.
We all do it, yeah. And it's not just like a personal quirk. Source material suggests it's actually fundamental, part of being human.
Right.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that, the science of human preference for simplicity. And it's based on an AI-driven analysis.
Yeah, and this isn't just about liking things neat and tidy, is it?
No, not at all. It's described as this profound cognitive principle, something shaped by evolution itself.
That's right. And our mission in this deep dive really is to unpack how this deep-seated drive influences so much.
Like what specifically?
Well, everything from our daily decisions, our perceptions, all the way up to major societal conflicts.
Wow. Okay.
And crucially, we want to explore how we can maybe navigate its complexities a bit better, make more informed choices, foster a more, nuanced understanding of the world.
And we're drawing from this AI-driven scientific analysis.
Exactly. It pulls together the cognitive, neurological, evolutionary, even philosophical and societal angles of this powerful human trait. It's quite comprehensive.
Okay, so let's unpack that core idea first, this science of humans preferring simplicity. It's not just liking minimalism, then.
No, not just aesthetics, though that can be part of it. The analysis frames it as a deeply ingrained operational principle of our minds.
An operational principle, meaning?
Meaning our brains are basically designed or perhaps evolved to manage cognitive load, to be more efficient, especially when we're faced with tons of information and, let's face it, a lot of ambiguity out there.
Right, it's an information-rich world.
Totally. And what's fascinating is how long this idea has sort of been kicking around.
Yeah, how far back?
Centuries, actually. You can trace roots back to Occam's razor. William of Ockham, 14th century.
The classic, simplest explanation is usually best.
Pretty much. If you have competing ideas that explain things equally well, lean towards the simpler one. But even before that, ancient Greeks, like Aristotle, argued that nature doesn't do things unnecessarily. Nothing's superfluous.
Huh. Interesting. So it's an old intuition.
Very old. And it pops up again with Galileo, Newton. They believed nature operates through the easiest and simplest means.
And Einstein, too, right? Didn't he say something similar?
He did. He asserted that our experience justifies believing nature embodies the simplest conceivable mathematical ideas. So there's this persistent, almost intuitive link we make between simplicity and truth.
Where ease of understanding kind of feels like correctness.
Exactly. But that brings up a really critical point, a tension the analysis digs into.
Which is?
Is simpler always truer?
Good question.
Because while many scientists maybe intuitively operate that way, the philosophical debate is richer. Thinkers like Karl Popper, for instance.
Okay.
He saw simpler theories as more testable. Very valuable for science, but not necessarily more truthful in some absolute sense.
So it's more about practicality for testing ideas.
In Popper's view, yeah. And modern perspectives tend to frame Occam's razor as a principle for inference, a helpful guideline for choosing between explanations, not a claim that reality itself is simple.
I see. So it's a tool, not a statement about the world itself.
Right. And the danger is when we conflate the two, when that human tendency to equate simplicity with truth leads us away from, objective reality.
Because the comfort of a simple answer might blind us.
Precisely. To a more complex, but maybe more accurate truth.
So how do we get a clearer picture of this whole preference? This is where the AI analysis comes in.
Exactly. It offers capabilities that are, frankly, hard for humans alone.
Like crunching massive data sets.
Yeah, processing vast amounts of data on behavior, language, decisions, identifying subtle patterns we might miss.
Patterns in how we simplify things.
Exactly. And then generating explanations for the mechanisms behind it and its implications. It's like a science of the science approach, giving us a really comprehensive, maybe more objective look at this fundamental human wiring.
Okay, let's dive deeper then, into the foundations. Our own cognitive processes, how our brains are actually wired for this.
Right. So our decision-making, a lot of the time it relies on mental shortcuts. Heuristics, researchers call them.
Like rules of thumb.
Exactly. Quick rules that help us make rapid judgments, often pretty accurate, actually, especially under pressure or with, incomplete info.
But these shortcuts, they can lead us astray sometimes, can't they? Cognitive biases?
That's the downside. Yeah, we all fall prey to them. Think about the availability heuristic.
That's when you favor info that just pops into your head easily.
Right. Maybe because it's recent or vivid or emotional, or anchoring bias, getting stuck on the first piece of information you hear.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Then there's overconfidence, thinking we know more than we do. And a big one, confirmation bias.
Where you only look for stuff that confirms what you already think.
Precisely. You selectively seek out supporting info and ignore the rest. And these often run on autopilot, subconsciously. It's called automatic system 1 processing.
Which was probably useful for evolution, right? Quick reactions.
Absolutely. A huge advantage for early humans needing to react fast to survive.
Okay. What else is going on cognitively?
Another key concept is processing fluency.
Fluency, like how easily something flows.
Kind of. It's the subjective feeling of mental ease or difficulty when you process information.
Okay.
And the easier something feels to understand higher fluency, the more favorably we tend to judge it.
So easy equals good, or true.
Often, yeah. We associate it with truth, attractiveness, familiarity. That's why an easy-to-read statement might seem truer even if it's not. It's the illusion of truth effect.
Like simple fonts seem more trustworthy.
That's a great example. It taps right into that fluency.
So are our brains just, I don't know, lazy? Always looking for the easy path?
Huh. Well, the sources use the term cognitive miser.
A miser,
Yeah.
stingy with mental effort.
Basically, yeah. An inherent tendency to conserve mental energy, use minimal cognitive resources, and honestly, it makes sense given the daily information overload.
Right, we can't possibly process everything deeply.
Exactly. Stereotypes, for example, while problematic, are a form of cognitive simplification, quick categorization without deep individual analysis. A shortcut, for better or worse.
Okay, so it's about saving energy. But you mentioned neurology too. Is there more to it?
Oh, yes. It's not just about saving effort. Our brain's reward system is heavily involved.
Dopamine and all that.
Exactly. When we find efficient, simple solutions, key reward areas in the brain release dopamine. That feels good. It links simplicity with pleasure and effectiveness.
So finding an elegant solution literally feels rewarding?
Yes. That's why it's so satisfying.
That aha moment when things just click.
Precisely. That feeling isn't just conceptual. The analysis shows specific brain activity during those moments in areas linked to insight and reward, like the VTA. It's a direct neural reward for finding that simple, elegant solution.
Wow. So our brain is actively encouraging simplicity with pleasure hits.
It seems so. And it's actively trying to reduce cognitive load in general. Our memory works better under low load, for instance. The brain generally prefers to avoid effort if an easier option exists.
Makes sense.
And there's a part of the brain, the anterior cingulate cortex, that seems to evaluate the cost-benefit of mental effort. Plus, we see distinct brain activity patterns during simplification tasks. Visual simplicity involves specific pathways, and even creative idea generation, which often involves simplifying complex stuff, shows unique brainwave patterns.
What about things like working memory, that short-term memory space?
Good point. Working memory has limited capacity, right? The classic 7 plus or minus 2 items.
Yeah.
So it actively uses strategies like chunking, grouping info into bigger, manageable units. That simplifies the task, reduces the load, makes complex info easier to handle right now.
Okay, so putting all this brain stuff together.
It leads to what the analysis calls the efficiency pleasure truth loop. This is really key.
Efficiency, pleasure, truth. Okay, break that down.
Simplicity leads to cognitive efficiency. Efficiency leads to processing fluency, that feeling of ease.
Right.
Fluency generates pleasure and reward via dopamine. That reward solidifies the simple thing as perceived truth.
Ah, because it felt good and easy.
Exactly. Which then strengthens our overall preference for simplicity. It's a reinforcing loop.
That explains a lot, like why misinformation or catchy, simple slogans are so sticky.
Absolutely. They tap directly into this inherent reward mechanism. They feel right, even if they're wrong.
So countering oversimplification isn't just about throwing more facts at people.
No, it means understanding and somehow addressing these deep-seated reward mechanisms. That's the challenge.
Okay, let's shift perspective slightly, the evolutionary angle. You said this is deep-rooted.
Hugely. Think of it as an adaptive trait. Crucial for survival and efficiency way back in our ancestral environments.
Making quick decisions was key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Recognizing a threat, finding food, relying on simple heuristics, that fast automatic system one thinking gave a massive survival advantage. No time for deep pondering when a predator's around.
Right, so the cognitive miser approach wasn't lazy, it was rational back then.
Exactly. Conserving mental energy was vital when dealing with overwhelming environmental information.
The analysis also mentioned a trade-off in language.
Yes, a fundamental trade-off between expressive fidelity and representational simplicity.
Fidelity versus simplicity.
Fidelity is capturing all the rich detail, the nuances. Simplicity is about economical, easy-to-manage representations. Simplification helps us learn, grasp things quickly, but it can come at the cost of losing that nuance, that expressivity, potentially missing vital information.
So we're hardwired for simplicity, but we live in this incredibly complex world. That sounds like a clash.
It is a fascinating paradox. We seek simplicity to understand a world that's fundamentally emergent and complex.
Leading to a complexity coherence trade-off, the analysis calls it.
Exactly. Over-relying on simple explanations can lead to a fundamental misunderstanding of complex systems, ecosystems, markets, society itself.
So embracing complexity is actually necessary.
The sources suggest it is, yeah. To achieve what they call a balanced universe, we need to grapple with complexity, not just wish it away.
Okay, let's look at how this plays out in society. Culture, politics, conflict.
Right. It extends far beyond just individual minds. Think about science again, Occam's razor guiding theory choice. Einstein's relativity being preferred over Lorentz's more complex theory, partly for its elegance and simplicity.
There are two.
Definitely. Minimalism in the 50s was a deliberate embrace of simplicity. Judd, Flavin, Agnes Martin focusing on essential forms, reduction.
And laws. You mentioned the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, cited as a model of simplicity, concise, broad principles, that simplicity is seen as contributing to its endurance.
But there's a downside to societal simplification too, right? Like with history.
Absolutely. Societies create simplified narratives to make sense of complex histories, forge national identities.
Like the lost cause narrative after the U.S. Civil War.
That's a key example. Or sometimes early, overly celebratory takes on things like the civil rights movement. These narratives can build community, sure, but they often distort reality, omit complexities, paint an incomplete picture.
And that's where manipulation can creep in, especially in politics.
Yes, simplicity becomes a powerful tool. Politicians often use simplistic arguments, slogans, rhetorical devices. It projects competence, resonates with voters because it's easy to process.
The analysis mentioned strategic degradation of rhetoric.
Yeah, citing examples like Donald Trump's use of simple and simplistic words. It's noted as highly effective persuasion precisely because it's easy to grasp and remember.
And the media can amplify this.
Hugely. Media manipulation often uses exaggeration, distortion, emotional appeals, fear-mongering, nationalism, all wrapped in highly simplified narratives.
Like that famous Daisy ad from 1964.
Classic example, simplifying nuclear war into a stark emotional choice. Incredibly easy to process, incredibly effective.
The dangers seem pretty clear then. Undermining debate, polarization.
Misinformation spreads faster. People get a distorted view of reality, leading to poor decisions. Remember the confusion when the UK's COVID messaging shifted from stay home to the less simple stay alert. That lack of processing fluency caused real problems.
Wow, okay. And how does this preference for simplicity affect how groups interact or conflict?
Well, humans naturally categorize. We simplify others to make sense of the social world efficiently, put people into boxes.
Less cognitively demanding that way?
Exactly. But the cost is huge. Biases, stereotypes. Stereotypes are, by definition, oversimplified and based on limited information.
And the cognitive miser theory explains why they stick around. Challenging them takes effort.
Right. It requires mental work we're often reluctant to do, and this categorization easily leads to in-group bias.
Favoring your own group, seeing outsiders as less good.
Essentially, yes. And some research even links lower cognitive abilities with higher social intolerance, possibly because it's harder to process complex social info beyond simple categories.
And the extreme end of this is dehumanization.
Yes, a severe form. Denying human qualities to other groups, often using animalistic metaphors, creating an imagined otherness. Tragically, this makes aggression and violence much easier to justify and carry out.
Which brings us to this cycle the analysis identified.
The narrative simplification identity reinforcement conflict escalation cycle. It's critical.
Okay, walk me through that.
Simple stories solidify group identities. We are like this, they are like that. This leads to simplifying and often dehumanizing the outgroup, which then facilitates and justifies conflict and intolerance.
And it's powerful because it feels good. It taps into that reward system.
Exactly. These harmful narratives leverage the brain's reward for cognitive ease. They feel right, deeply satisfying, making them incredibly hard to break.
Okay, given all these dangers, what are the ethical implications? How should we think about morality and simplicity?
Well, there's a debate in moral philosophy. Simple ethical rules versus detailed, nuanced frameworks.
Pros and cons to both, I imagine.
Right. Simple guidance can help individuals make quick choices. But it risks moral relativism, the idea that right and wrong are just products of different conventions or opinions.
Which makes it hard to condemn things most people agree are wrong.
Exactly. If morality is just relative, how do you condemn universally recognized wrongs? It implies maybe obvious moral wrongs are acceptable if a certain group says so.
That's tricky.
It is. Simple rules might be easier, but they risk overlooking irreparable loss or unintended consequences in a complex world. Think of one-size-fits-all wellness advice that ignores individual needs.
So the ethical response is,
Acknowledging complexity. Actively resisting the allure of easy answers when morality is concerned.
and what about leaders? They're making big decisions. Are they immune?
Far from it. Highly susceptible to cognitive biases, affinity bias, confirmation bias, overconfidence.
Which can mess up their decision-making.
Seriously impair it. Especially when a simple solution seems so attractive, it can lead to flawed strategies, a distorted view.
So they need better frameworks.
Effective ethical decision-making frameworks, yes. They need to be accessible, sure, but they must demand comprehensive analysis. Looking at facts, alternatives, long-term impacts, applying principles like utilitarianism or the golden rule.
Basically, resist jumping to the easy conclusion.
Resist that premature closure, exactly.
So thinking about society more broadly, diversity is great, but living with real difference requires patience, tolerance.
Absolutely. The analysis stresses patience and tolerance are paramount. It's about genuinely accepting ideas and lifestyles that might clash with our own, not just celebrating diversity superficially.
But what about when actions driven by harmful oversimplifications cause real problems? How tolerant should society be then?
That's a tough balance. The strategies suggested focus less on just punishing rule breaking and more on addressing the root causes.
Like the underlying biases.
Yes, promoting critical thinking, encouraging open dialogue, building trust, finding common ground even amidst disagreement, fostering self-awareness of our own biases.
Creating a culture where it's okay to be wrong.
A culture of error disclosure, yeah. Educating for critical thinking, shifting from a win-lose mindset to cooperation. The core message is complexity is real, and ignoring it is perilous.
Okay, so if we want to actually do something about this, to foster more nuance, what are some practical steps? Education seems key.
Absolutely pivotal, starting young. Pedagogical strategies that cultivate nuanced thinking.
Like what kind of strategies?
Asking open-ended questions, always encouraging kids to ask why. Pushing them to think about when established truths might not apply. Using collaborative learning, real-world examples to make abstract ideas concrete.
Should we always start complex, though? Or build up?
The analysis suggests starting simple, making material easily digestible initially, then progressively building complexity as learners gain expertise. Avoid cluttering the mind too early.
Makes sense. And foster a culture of inquiry.
Yes. Through structured debates, reflective inquiry, and crucially, introducing anomalous data, stuff that challenges what people already believe. Experiential learning helps too, as does Vygotsky's sociocultural theory, collaborative dialogue, scaffolding learning.
Okay, that's education. What about society-wide?
Media literacy, absolutely critical.
That be people see through manipulation.
Exactly. Evaluating information critically, recognizing emotional bias, separating fact from rhetoric, empowering people in this noisy information age.
And improving how groups see each other.
Promoting intergroup understanding, more interaction, cooperative activities. These dismantle biases, challenge stereotypes, understanding otherness not as threat, but as a source of diverse perspectives. It directly counters dehumanization.
So it's about a cultural shift.
Ultimately, yes. Cultivating a societal culture that actually values complexity, critical inquiry, continuous learning, moving beyond the comfort of easy answers, embracing intellectual humility. That's how you build that healthy, educated, and good society the analysis talks about.
And what role can AI play in this? We started by mentioning the AI-driven analysis.
Well, AI itself can be a powerful tool, used responsibly.
How so?
Its ability to process vast data, identify patterns, it can complement our own cognition. Help us spot biases in data we might miss, simulate complex scenarios, offer more objective insights.
But with caveats, I assume.
Big ones. AI development must be guided by ethics, transparency, fairness, and crucially, preventing algorithmic biases that could just automate or even amplify our own tendency towards oversimplification. AI is a tool. Its impact depends entirely on how we design and use it.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this deep dive into our preference for simplicity, it's clearly a double-edged sword.
Definitely. Offers efficiency, speed, but leaves us vulnerable to bias, manipulation, and it's wired right into our brain's reward system.
So the key takeaways for listeners, what should we focus on?
Cultivate nuanced thinking right from childhood. Champion media and information literacy for everyone. Foster empathy and understanding between groups. Integrate bias awareness and mitigation into leadership. And yes, leverage AI, but do it responsibly.
It sounds like a constant effort is needed.
It is. As the analysis concludes, achieving that healthy, educated, and good society, that balanced universe, really requires a conscious societal shift. We need to embrace complexity, build our cognitive resilience against that powerful, almost seductive allure of oversimplification.
A shift away from easy answers towards richer understanding.
Exactly. It's not always comfortable, but it leads to a much more accurate and ultimately more functional view of the world.
This is DigitView.